Hey, in this video we're gonna work on the look dev of the base rock and push the material as much as we can. So we're gonna start by isolating the rock and just hiding all the other geos, and I'm gonna dive in its material, the rock network we created. So this is the placeholder that we have. We still have a lot of work on that. So let's create a max on noise and plug that into the diffuse. So one great thing about the max on noise is that it regroups a bunch of different noise. And well, we can just try and experiment. So sometimes they are a bit too dark, so I'm trying to recontrast them properly, like by playing with low clip and high clip. So Poxo noise might actually be the one we use. Feels like the right amount of breakups. Then playing with the overall scale will help to find the right frequency. I'm gonna call that Poxo noise and copy paste it. I'm gonna experiment another one. So I'm thinking about the wavy turbulence. And of course it's too small, so this one would be a larger frequency to break up the Poxo noise. Just try to find the right balance in terms of contrast. Yeah, something like that. I'm going for a larger frequency. I think that could do the job. Now we need to mix those guys together. I'm gonna use a color mix and plug the Poxo noise into the first input and the turbulence into the mix amount. Let's set the second color to black. Okay, just realize it's the wrong input. I should have swapped those. Yeah, that feels better now. Just gonna rename that so we avoid any more confusion. And yeah, let's definitely keep it black for the second color. Now what we could do is try to use this noise we created to drive the displace of this rock. So let's drop a RS displacement, and into the texture map input, let's plug the result of the mixer, and we plug the displacement into the displacement redshift material. Let's make sure we are using the height field, which is just the value of black and white. And into the redshift object setting, we're gonna go in tessellation, enable it, and we have minimum length, which corresponds to the minimum length of one edge. So the lower it is set, the longer it will take to generate the displacement. 4 is usually a good default value. Then let's enable the displacement. We'll also have enable auto bump mapping enable. That will help optimizing the displacement by converting the smallest detail into bump map. Now, if we try to launch the render, well, the mesh kinda exploded. The scale we have is way too much right now, so let's reduce it to something like 0.1, or it's actually still a bit too much, so 0.02. That feels better. I'm thinking going a bit lower, like 0.015. Yeah, I think that will do. Then try to render one region just to check out. Okay. Now that we have that set, we're gonna work on the diffuse. I usually like to remap the displacement with a ramp and color it like with some red and green colors, just to see what the map look like into the diffuse. So we need to push the reds a bit more so that we see a bit more contrast. Start to see some interesting detail where the map has been displaced, we could use this red and replace it by some white. And the green actually could be some kind of inside of the mineral. So we're gonna keep something kind of dark, but within the green tones. Something like that could work. So that's pretty cool. I'm kind of thinking we could experiment with subsurface scattering to bring some production value kind of thing. So, all right, let's go into the subsurface tab and increase the amount to 1. So right now this is very soft, like wax, because the radius is way too much. So we can reduce to 0.1. It's now a bit more subtle, I guess. Yeah, this feels better. Now what we could do is drive the amount with the ramp that we created from the displacement. So this way we can control how much SSS we want on the white surface and how much we want on the green areas. So I'm actually gonna plug that into the subsurface section. Let's reorganize a bit. That's gonna be ramp diffuse and that will be ramp SSS. All right. Let's move that a bit. Now we could try playing with this ramp that will control the amount. So maybe some kind of dark gray instead of black. So we still need to tweak a bit the radius, see how it works. And I'm thinking expanding this ramp a little bit. Could actually try and change the subsurface color just to see how it's affecting the mesh. So I'm thinking going for some kind of greenish, bluish tones for this guy. And it's looking way too soft, so I'm going back to some black values, and the maximum amount would be like something around 0.5 in terms of brightest value. It's looking much better already. Kind of thinking now we could break up the white area with some darker patches. So to generate those dark patches, I'm just gonna copy paste the turbulence noise and multiply it with the SSS ramp. Let's try and plug that into the diffuse just to see how it's looking. I'm gonna try and play with the contrast. If we disable the multiply, we should just see the before after. Yeah, let's keep tweaking it. Kind of thinking should rather like plug the diffuse onto the turbulence first. Okay, obviously I need to bring some more contrast. And my frequency is very small right now. So, okay, I think in terms of contrast that would work. Now, this scale around 3, 4 should work. We just got some large patch that will break up this noise. So if we try to replug the multiply, I think that's what we want. Could actually try to contrast the result with a change range and play with the old range max. For the diffuse, let's color mix it and plug this multiply into the mix amount. And the second color will be like a black color. So we start to see some dark patches appearing. And I guess we could make it more appearance by reducing the old range max. It's looking better. I think the color may be too dark. We never want something totally dark in terms of diffuse. We want something more like a dark gray kind of thing. Alright, this is the result we get. So I think for now that will do the job. Maybe we'll do some adjustments when we see how it looks with the crystal and stuff, but for now let's keep going. We're gonna shape the crystals.